What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Hope Shot. Hope everybody is having a great week. Just getting it this week, huh? Man, I look at that video and I'm like, man, it's definitely the times have changed. Even sceneries and backgrounds, I was in an old chair in the middle of my corner of my bedroom, and now I'm out here in the garage. So, if you guys just jumping on, say what's up. Let us know you're here. Man, we got a great topic tonight. I'm gonna see if Christina might have the clarity statement from the 2 weeks in a row. Uh, you're gonna be my fall guy now from now on. Fall lady.
You just gotta read it. You gotta read it like Caesar does, though.
Yeah. To the T.
I think what they're trying to say is you need to memorize this thing.
Yes.
I got it. Right here.
Yes.
Let me pin it. I'm gonna pin it
That's
Yeah,
right.
pin it. It's worth pinning.
later. All right. The Hope Shot clarity statement. We here at the Hope Shot are a group of people in recovery spreading inspiration. We come from all different walks of life and pathways of recovery. Our verbiage may be different at times, but we all have one thing in common: recovery as a lifestyle. We support all pathways of recovery. It doesn't matter how you get from A to Z, just get there. Thank you for being part of our family, the Hope Shot.
Thanks, Christina. I appreciate you.
What is
Say
that?
what's up, my
What is
sister.
that, Dustin?
It's for when comments pop up.
Oh, gotcha.
I'll be in the void over here. Okay.
I was like, what am
I knew you're like, what is going on here? What is that on my screen? What's up, Katie? All right. Let's jump in. Let's jump right into it, man. We're gonna go into it, man. Our topic tonight is gonna be 'tis the season. And we ain't talking about no Christmas in August, okay, Christina? No Christmas. Or it could be. Who knows? You know what I mean? It could be whatever you want it to be. 'Tis the season to be jolly. I don't know. But if not, then it is what it is, and we're all going through something at times, We have different seasons and different flows and ebbs of life. And, I'm going to let Ito, since you're our guest tonight,
Yes, sir. I
what's
think
up with seasons?
I think what I'll do is I'll kind of like lay a foundation real quick and let you guys take off of that foundation since we're all like shooting from the hip here. And then from there, man, I'll probably come back at the end and just kind of wrap this thing up with some good understanding. And so, like, seasons, what are they? And if you really think about it, you have your summer, you have your winters, you have your falls, you have these seasons, and these seasons, actually change all of the time. And periodically throughout our lives in our recovery walk, we go from one season to the other. And I think that what really kind of brought this topic up is kind of how the season that I'm in today, just in my life today, and how I go from being in Georgia the first 10 years of my life of this recovery walk, then coming back to Florida to take care of my grandmother. Then my grandmother, she goes to be with the Lord, and then I stay in Florida, business, having to go back to Georgia for about 2 months to help out with the recovery homes, to have to come back here. And like these seasons change, and like there's a lot of growth that takes place during these seasons that if we're not aware and we don't understand the season that we're in, what eventually ends up happening is we end up missing the blessing that's in it. And I have this like one little saying where I say, you're supposed to leave the season behind and take all the tools, all of the weapons, and everything that you've gained, and all of the plunder that you gained in that last season, and you're supposed to bring that into the new season. The issue that most people face today is that they bring the last season with them when they're supposed to leave that season behind and move on and use what they've learned in the previous season in the new season. And so, and there's a lot of trusting in God and all these things that I want to that I'll probably end up talking about maybe towards the end of this thing, but I kind of want to hear a little bit more from you guys today about this seasons, like the seasons that we're in, how they change and how we shift with the season. What does that look like in your walk? So, anyways, that's foundation laying right there, and then let's go, man.
All right. Who wants to go?
Awesome.
Seasons.
Christina wants
Tiz.
Yeah. So, okay. So, you know, when I got in early recovery, I had noticed the ebbs and flows, right? And how I would be like all in, right? And then I would have moments where I called it complacency.
Mm.
And it took me just recently because I was noticing, 6.5 years later, that it was a pattern, right? So it just kind of occurred to me recently that that's what it is. It's a season, right? Like I have these seasons where these hills and valleys, right? And I went through a couple of years recently of a season of loss. Like loss was all around me. My brother passed away of cancer, and then my grandmother a year later. 2 years before that, both my dad and my stepdad passed away. So it just kind of was like continuous loss, right? It was like as soon as I would come up for air from one, I was losing another one. So I had like a season of like grief and numbness. And then when I kind of finally got over that, my recent season right now, I would say would have been like change, right? And having to take like a hard look at myself and kind of just seeing how like because of the action that I wasn't taking, I was kind of not being able. I was like running on a hamster wheel, right? And like I had to kind of come to terms with the fact that I was the only one that could kind of that prayer was only going to get me so far, right? Prayer and reliance on on God was only going to get me so far. Like I needed to take some action, right? So I have a lot of like lack of discipline that I've had to come to terms with lately. And it was funny. I actually I've been praying, for God's will for my life and the power to carry that out. But it was just, hit me in the face that like God can only take me so far. Like I have to take that step in faith. Right. And there's a lot of things in my life that fall under the umbrella of like lack of discipline, lack of consistency, and where I'm at in my recovery is focusing on behaviors that I still act out on today that may or may not make my life unmanageable. Right. And like you come to a point where like you no longer can like blame it on the drugs or blame it on this or that. You blame it on like you and what are you doing to take that action. So kind of that's where I'm in like a season of reflection and kind of seeing where my lack of consistency and my lack of discipline is kind of starting to make my life unmanageable because I'm getting to that point of where I'm getting up there in age. And like, if I don't start taking certain steps now, like, certain like health things are going to start coming up in my life. So like right now, it's like I went through the grieving thing, and that was like my justification for not taking action for a lot of things. Like I'm grieving, I'm still, going through the process. And now I'm in this season of like, enough is enough. Right. And kind of reflecting back. So I go do these ribbon cuttings for my job. And for this one ribbon cutting last month, or maybe a month and a half ago, I won a free membership for HotWorks, right? And I was like, oh, okay, I'll try this out. Well, I just won my second free membership for a 30-minute HIIT class with some boxing gloves. So I'm thinking God's like, girl, I'm setting you up. You know what I mean? Like I'm setting them up. You've been praying. You want to do these things. I'm setting you up like the ball is in your court, right? But that's the season that I'm in right now, to where like I'm almost sick and tired of myself, right? I know that I'm the one holding myself back. I'm the one like the it's me needing to take the action. Like my excuses have ran out, right? And it's to the point where it's like I know what I need to do, and that's what season I'm in. And I'm hoping that the season's over very soon, and then I can like step into the season of action and back to the Christina that gets shit done. Because that's usually I've always been a go getter. I've always been a person that gets things done, and I get complacent every now and then. I get in these seasons where I do get in my own way, but I really feel like this time it's taken me a little longer to go from knowing what I need to do and just doing it. Right. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest difference is knowing what you need to do and just not doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big thing. What are we waiting on? You know what I mean? Life ain't getting no fucking shorter. Life is not getting any shorter, and we sit here and we wait. I was just talking to my wife earlier about, there's so many missed opportunities in the graveyard. Just missed opportunities, things that we never jump. Like we wait for things to happen. We wait, and then we don't, like, especially nowadays, man. Life is fast. It's moving fast. And we don't know. So it's like, and I told her, like, the biggest thing that I ever got in this whole thing was speed of implementation. Like, move it. Like, get your ideas are worth talking about, or the things that you want to do, you should do. You know what I mean? What holds you back from doing those things that you should be wanting to do or need to do for yourself in order for you to get to that next level? And I'm the biggest person. This guy in the back here says you're not worth it. Like all the committee is always holding me back from what? What are we holding ourselves back from? Because we don't want to look bad or do certain things or whatever it is, whatever's holding us back. Everybody's different, and those are, and in seasons, it's a different voice or a different message that's coming through, or it's a different holdback, or if it's a different thing we're trying to go after, and but all in all, it's like, what are we waiting for? What is stopping us? What's holding us back from jumping? I just had a conversation today about that. I think it's a lot, where our human, minds hold us back from all the blessings, really. Joy's on the other side of that suffering that we're going through in this moment, and we don't even realize how close we are. It could be like a millimeter away, you know what I mean? And we don't even realize it because there's just like this stronghold sitting in front of us that's holding us back. And it only takes just one little tiny step and we're there, And, that's something I really hold on to. And I really try to focus on is not letting my past, my anything. I've had a lot of experiences with, of moving forward because I don't listen to that small little voice that's trying to keep me back from whatever it is that's happening. Even now, I'm going through the season where I don't know what the future holds. And it's really hard. My humanness wants to like freak out and burn it down. Because it's uncertainty. There's a bunch of uncertainty in the forecast and we don't know what it looks like. And as when I was talking to Ito right before we get on here, that's where faith kicks in. Sometimes it's hard to have faith. I want to control some things and I want to and dictate the outcome of things. And I want to hold myself back from missed opportunities because I'm so focused or hyper focused on this one scenario that's happening in front of me that I have really no control over at all. And I could actually cause the opposite effect by trying to control it more. I'm trying to grab my hands on it and it's actually working against me instead of working for me because of the uncertainty, because my humanness wants to hold on to it and say, no, don't they know who I am? Don't they know they better recognize, you know? You know what
Yeah, I was just
So-
thinking if I had to name my season, it would probably be my season that I let myself go. You know? And I'm trying to get myself back. And then the craziest thing is just the other night, I had like put things in place for me to get my butt up and go to the gym. I slept in my gym clothes so I could get up and just go. I had people meeting me there and woke up sicker than a dog. Woke up so sick, and I'm just like, you got to be kidding me. Like I was so dead set, like today's the day. I'm doing it. You guys meet me there. Okay, I'm wearing my gym clothes. I'm not even gonna brush my teeth. I'm gonna go.
Don't even brush your what the hell?
No excuses. You know what I mean? Um, and then
Let it all hang out.
then I wake up sick, and I was just like, you got to be kidding me.
That's how it works. That's how it works right there. Our best intentions, our expectations of what we should and everything. I'm going to go with no teeth brushing and all of it. Let's do this. And then boom, hit it. Rachel, the character defect activated.
Character defect activated. That's right. That's right. And I mean, you said something, Justin, about that whole faith conversation, and here's the thing that a lot of people, I hope that through this podcast and this video and all this, like they get to understand, like you're like faith is on the scene now. Faith for the right kingdom is what we need to address. What I mean by that is that whether you are believing in faith for the right things, it's faith. Or if you are fearful about the wrong things and the unknown things, that's faith too. It's just a different kingdom. And so faith is on the scene. The question is like, what have you learned through the previous seasons that has increased your faith in the season that you're in now? Because if God brought you from that place to where you're at now, why wouldn't he do it now and bring you to a different place? And then you start to place your faith on something that has actually worked in the past before. But it's all about truth. You got to possess some type of truth. You got to find the truth in the lie that we believe in all of these things when it comes to life, when life be life and the seasons that we go through.
Yeah.
And so, and the previous seasons, and this is why I'll wrap this up at the end. The previous seasons, they all have a purpose. They all do, for what we're going through right now today.
So, when somebody hits me with have faith, and I'm like, shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. That's exactly what goes on my, like, yeah, yep. Nobody wants to hear that right now. Okay.
No, but he's absolutely right. Because like for this season, like I am capable of getting up and doing what I need to do to get myself back on track. I've done it before. I can do it. I just need to get out of my own way, and I just need to go do it, and then, what do they say? Take the body or take the body, the mind will follow, or something like that. How does it say? So I need to start showing up, right? I need to start showing up for my life, doing things even when I don't want to do it, right? And that's and not expecting instant gratification, because I think that's the problem too, is like the work that I have to do, right? That isn't going to show anything at first, but at the consistency of doing it every single day, and then slowly I will get myself back on track with my goals of where I wanted to be. I have a huge issue right now. I put on a lot of weight, right? I put on a lot of weight, and it's like, it's getting to me. It's getting to me. And usually like 6 months ago, I would have already reeled this back in, but instead of reeling it back in, I've put on 15 more pounds, and it's just like, it's so, I'm struggling with myself, and I just like, and it's just me. It's just a me versus me type thing right now, and I've been praying, and I think God, like with the membership, she's like, I'm setting you up. You just got to go. Just got to get up and go. That's all you got to do.
You got to suit up, show up, and yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing is just showing up. That's the hardest part. It's just showing up, and but it eventually it's gonna kick in. You know, it's like we were talking about today when we were at the thing. It's like eventually it's going to kick in. You just got to keep showing up day in and day out, and eventually it's going to work. You know, they say it takes like 40 days to get a new habit, right? 40 days. That's a long time away. I'm like 40 days, and I can't even get through day one. You know, it's like, and we have to stay in today, man. It's like that's why, you know, it's like we try to tell everybody that just for the day stuff. You know what I mean? I can't think like that sometimes. Well, it's true. If we could just stay in today and just do what can I do right here, right now? What can I do right here, right now? Okay, well, today didn't work. Let's start it over tomorrow. You know what I mean? And not kick ourselves in the butt every time the shit doesn't kick in. You know how many times I've wanted to get up and go ride my bike like I was doing for the last 2 months, and like it just hasn't worked out. It hasn't worked out. So you know what? But what I'm gonna do? Beat myself up? it ain't gonna work. You know, I'm not gonna beat myself up. I'm gonna just do what I can and leave the rest. You know, and right now it's not the season for that. Maybe in a month the next new season's gonna kick in. You know, like gotta wait for the new season to come out on Netflix. You know, I don't know what it is. You know, I've been watched too much. I guess I don't know. Nate, where you at, man? What's up with you? Seasons, bro. It's season.
I'm just listening. I was just taking everything in. I was looking at the definition of season, and it says each of the 4 divisions of the year marked by particular weather patterns and daylight hours resulting from the Earth's changing position with regards to the sun. And I was thinking, like, when it says marked by particular weather patterns, I'd like to say marked by, if we're relating this to our journeys, right? Marked by particular weather patterns from my spirit's ever-changing position with regard to God, right? And I believe that, I've had very definitive seasons of my recovery, and I absolutely trust and believe that each and every one of them, like Ito was mentioned or alluded to, had like a specific divine purpose, right? And for me, it's like Christina, you got sick on Monday because if you were driving to the gym, you get into an accident and you're paralyzed. Justin, you get on your bike and you get hit by a car late at night. Someone does it early in the morning, doesn't see it. You know, like, how far am I willing to truly trust that God is everything, right? Because that's where the doubt comes in, right? Where I have a tendency to be agnostic in certain areas of my life, right? Because I fully believe, trust, and understand and know on a soul level that God has removed this obsession and placed me in a position to recover, from a hopeless state of mind and body, right? I know that 100%, right? But you put me in a situation, you fill in the blank with the external circumstances, job, relationships, kids, whatever the case might be, right? And why is it that I have a tendency to not place that same faith in that situation that I did with my addiction and alcoholism, right? If this power, this God, can remove something that controlled me, haunted me, consumed me for 20 plus years, why can't he heal this or heal that? And it's that last semblance, that last little, even if it's on a subconscious level, which I really think it is, but it's that last little bit of control, this subconscious control I want, because I have a little bit of control of this area of my life, right? I decide if I go to the gym. I decide if I eat well. I decide if I stay here, if I go here. And it's in those areas of my life. If I am struggling in a specific area in my life, that's because I am changing position with regard to not to the Son, to God, right? I have shifted away from a path. Listen, so I can manage my job, my relationships, balance, friendships. I can manage those about as good as I can handle alcohol and drugs, which is not at all, right? And to the extent that I accept and surrender to the fact that I need this power in every aspect of my life and not just this one, is to the extent like I'm able to really experience what I believe God created me to experience, right? And I've been through some seasons, man. But I will say this: during every season, I've been able to reach another level of like recovery and awareness and awakening, right? And I begin to, and that's how faith is built, right? Because I come into this thing hoping that my life can be different. I come into this thing, believing, and it says in literature I read, it says all I had to do was express even a willingness to believe, and then I could make my beginning, right? And I express that willingness, and what happens? Things start to change, right? And life shows up in a way that gives me space to see this power work in my life, right? I'm in treatment. My mom dies. I can't even get home to say bye to her. I don't even think about getting loaded. This I'm like 9 months sober. I'm not even through the steps yet. But I this thing has been removed, right? A few months later, my daughter gets adopted. I didn't even know the court case was going on. I was in a different place where the mail went. So, and I walked through it. And then, I start to see like, holy shit, this power is alive and well, and he's present in and around me. And he has been the whole damn time. My problem is just I haven't been awake to it, right? So I am on a journey of awakening, right? And not just awakening because, they use the term in recovery a lot, the spiritual awakening. And awakening means one or more, right? So, I am on a journey for a spiritual awakening on every single. I have to become awake to the presence of this power in my life on a daily basis. But there is action I need to take, because it's all good to have faith, but if I don't take any action behind that faith, it doesn't mean shit.
It's dead, is what it says.
Faith without works is dead. That comes from the oldest book in the, and it's, been passed down into our recovery arenas. But there's so much more behind that, because it's like faith without works is dead, a little catchy saying. And you're like, yeah. But that means that I have to take deliberate and intentional action on a daily basis to stay awake, to change and shift towards this power, right? And recovery doesn't promise us that everything is going to be okay. There was this guy sharing at a meeting the other night, and he said, you know what one of the greatest blessings of recovery was? I get to feel, I get to feel. He said, I hadn't felt anything in like 2 decades, and that's my story. I never felt anything. I never walked through any emotional pain or joy or anything that had to do with feeling. Any feeling that I had was either artificial and or absolutely suppressed by substance, right? And because I was incapable of handling feelings. And today, the greatest gift, regardless of the season, is the ability to feel, because I am meant to feel those feelings, regardless of what they are, good, bad, indifferent. It doesn't matter. If I am in a season where I'm supposed to be messy and emotional, my responsibility is to feel that, and not feel guilty about it, or not run away from it, or not try to suppress it. It's just to feel it, process it, and understand that it's only a moment in time. It's temporary. My experience has been every bad feeling or sadness or tragedy or loss eventually passes, right? And I get to a different place where I have a better understanding of who and what I am in my relation to God. And then furthermore, in my relation to others. So, yeah, man, it's crazy how self-righteous and self-centered we can be to say, like, how can this be happening to me? What do you mean? How about I switch that perspective, take a different angle of approach, and say, what is this doing for me, right? What is this doing? What am I meant to receive from this season? And that's kind of where I'm at. I believe the closest to God I'll ever be is while I'm seeking Him.
Come on.
And that's the season I'm in right now. Just seeking, growing closer through service, through humility, through vulnerability, through feeling the feelings, for being afraid and showing up no matter what. And I'll end with this. Last night, and this is how self-centered I am, and how sick I still am, right? I'm like 7+ years sober, and I'm in a season right now, and I have a 5th step scheduled for last night, and my dumb ass is thinking of ways I can put it off, because I'm self-centered, and I'd rather sit in my mess than go be of service, right? And I go and meet this gentleman, and I have one of the most powerful 5th step experiences I probably had my entire recovery, right? Mm-hmm. And I always say a prayer before, a prayer after. And when I opened my eyes, right, after this prayer last night, I swear it was like I took a hit of acid. Everything was buzzing. Everything was bright. It was like little sparklies on everything I looked at. Like the presence of this power was in and around us in this moment. And what I told this gentleman is, like, I know you might not understand this now, but I needed this just as much as you did, So if I can give any suggestion or give any message, it's regardless of what season you're in, I have to continue to seek to grow closer to God. And I can't just do that through prayer and meditation. I can't do that just having faith. I have to do that with deliberate and intentional action. I have to step and walk towards this power that is usually waiting patiently on the other side of that which I resist. That's all I got.
Hey, Nate, you said why not me? Why is this happening to me? There's who is it? I think it was one of those famous, what is that guy's named? Oh my God, I can't think of it. But he's a famous preacher, and he is he's really famous.
Stephen Furtick?
Huh?
Stephen Furtick?
No, I don't even know who that is. It's a black dude. It's a black dude, and he has a deep voice. He's a preacher.
Philip Anthony Mitchell, probably.
No. Anyways, he said, people say, God, why me? He's like, hey, well, if you have a list, you got somebody to recommend? I think it's Les Brown, to be honest with you. I think it's Les Brown. Yeah, and it's like you have a list you can recommend people to me, that we can put into this situation. It's like I thought it was pretty funny when you said that. I instantly
That's
thought
like
of that.
Stephen Goggins when he's like, "If not me, then who?" Or "If not me, then who?" or something like that. Says
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
and the spiritual leap is to understand that whatever we're going through is exactly what we're supposed to, and that this power, whatever you all choose to believe, I call it God, that God absolutely knows that we are able to shoulder whatever it is, or we wouldn't be experiencing it. It's like Justin said, these self-limiting beliefs that have been just, conditioned into my psyche from years of self-abuse, low self-esteem, you name it. It prevents me from understanding that I am capable of walking through the most difficult situation. I mean, and I've done it in my past without even knowing, caring, or acknowledging this power. Imagine what happens when you turn towards it. Then you can walk through anything with grace, and
it knows exactly when to show up too. You know what I mean? That self-limiting belief system. It knows exactly when to get you. It's like, I got you. I know exactly when to get you. And it comes in strong in the most vulnerable states and the times when you feel like all of the walls are closing in on you, and you're like, beep, beep, remember me?
The one truth you talked about, the truths, and the one truth that I know from my seasons is that they're temporary.
Yep.
They're temporary, right? So yeah, so I just know I just have to keep putting one foot in front of the other. And I loved what you said, Nathan, about the, almost like a shift away from God, because that's what it's been. Like I have kind of, I've gotten complacent, or season of laziness, or letting myself go on all areas of my life. So it's like, I'm kind of just doing bare minimum when it comes to my relationship with God, so that's a huge factor. If like you start with the 1%, right? The 1%, if I just did a 1% better in all areas of my life, I would get there, right? But it takes that action. That was some really good stuff, Nathan.
well, we have a tendency to pour into all these external circumstances, right? And then wonder why we're feeling empty within. If you reverse it and you pour into the power that has given us the blessings and the space to have this beautiful life we're able to experience, it's funny how I will forget. I can say with like humility that today I don't forget, because I do pour into this relationship on a daily basis. I spend time with him in the morning, during the day, every chance I get. I say thank God, or that's God, or here's God. I'm awake, right? But why is it, right, that it took me so long to understand that the most important relationship in my life and ever will be in my life is my relationship with God, right? And if that is the most important relationship, what am I doing on a daily basis to respect and honor and nurture this beautiful gift of connection that I have that provides every single blessing in my life?
That's so good, Nate. I love how you kind of trotted down that pathway of faith, God, detachment, the things that He's pulled us through, and like one of the things that I want to say in the seasons that we're in, one of the things that's extremely important is always remember the people that God puts in your life that have actually paved that path. That you're actually going through today, that we go through today, someone's already walked it. Bradley Saxon out in Anderson, South Carolina, when he's teaching and sharing, he says, bro, I am telling you about these minds and where they're at so that you don't step on them, right? And so like there's somebody that's already paved this path. And I remember real early in my recovery walk, I've been doing this for 10 years, but out of the 10 years, 8 of them have been clean and sober. But the first 2, I was still justifying things and had that type of mentality. But in 2016, I remember sharing with my mentor sponsor that I just want to go back home to Pasco County, and I just want to give back to the community, and that I stole from so much, and like I had this zeal inside of me, yet I'm still drinking and smoking weed at this time. And I remember him saying these words to me, and what he quoted was page 164 of the big book without even opening the book. He was just like, bro, you cannot give away something you don't possess. Basically, you first have to make sure that your house is in order before you give something away. And so that 5 years, it was 5 years of being under his wing, his discipleship, understanding not only the word of God, but 12-step recovery, doing some step work, like through these seasons that I went through, I began to understand and see why God was actually putting us through this season, right? And we're in 2025, so I'm talking 2016, 2017, I get married, and oh, hell breaks loose in my house, right? And so here I am about to divorce my wife. I don't want nothing to do with her no more. I'm following God. The person that I've become is not the person she met. And I'm following God. Hell's breaking loose in my house. Things are getting real bad. I want to divorce my wife. I want to move on with life. I just want the pain to stop. And I remember him sharing with me some of the nuggets that he went through in his seasons that actually were beneficial for me in that season, that helped me stay with my wife. And like today, my wife is 6 years, going on 7 years clean and sober. She got away from the alcohol. We have a beautiful life going on. But it was his previous season that helped me through my season in that very moment. So what I'm trying to share here tonight is that be very observative of what, if that even needs a word, observe the season that you're in. And like there's scripture in Proverbs, and it says this. It says that know the importance of the season that you're in, and a wise person you will be. And then it goes on and says, but what a waste when an incompetent person sleeps through the day of opportunity. So what that's telling me is that through these trials and tribulations, these seasons that I'm in, if I don't wake up in the midst of it, I'm going to sleep through a day of opportunity. Well, what is the opportunity? One is how I get through it, how I gain strength, how I gain tools, how I gain weapons for not only my life, but what about the other person? So my experience with my wife has now become somebody else's marriage counselor. Like that right there are things that are so good in this recovery walk. Even with drug and alcohol addiction, my drug and alcohol addiction experiences have now become somebody else's blessing. And so like when my perspective has shifted about instead of saying why me, it shifted to why not me? Why not me? Like we are the vessels. Why not you? Why not go through the things that you're going through? And Christina, like I want to share with you, like I struggle the same way that you're struggling right now with this health thing and eating better and like gaining weight and all this stuff. One revelation that I received in the past like 3 weeks, because I started my path too. In the past 3 weeks, I went and weighed myself. This is what I did. I went and I drug tested the entire ministry, the men's ministry. And so I decided to go weigh myself on one of these guys' freaking scales that they have in the bathroom. And I go and I weigh myself, and I saw those numbers, and I was like, oh my God, like, how did I get here? And it really freaked me out. And I went and I shared that with my mentor, the same mentor that he's been walking with me the whole time. And I went and I shared that with him, and he shifted my perspective. And what he did in that moment, he said, you know what? It's actually good to weigh that much at your age. And I was like, it didn't make sense to me. It's just, I'd never been there. I'd never been at this weight. And he said, what you got to do is you got to get healthy and turn some of it into muscle. But that's actually really good weight. It encouraged me in that moment. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to seek this path. So I start this path of eating better, start working out, and then I stop doing it. And then I'll get back on it again, and then I stop doing it. And then here comes my wife. Now she's encouraging me. And now we're working out together. And the best thing, I think, the best revelation that I've gotten in this season is, one, not to beat myself up. If one day I don't work out, not to beat myself up. But two, why am I working out? That's the biggest revelation. And I want to share this with you because maybe this will help you out. Is it because you want to look better? You want to, not be that way, or is it because you understand that your body doesn't even belong to you? And that's the revelation that I received. Like, this is not even my body, this is not even my temple. This is where the Spirit of God resides in. And so now I want to worship you with my body. And so my perspective shifted. And so if I won't beat myself up, and now when I do go work out, I now have a different drive towards my workout. And these is coming through seasons. And how did that happen? Other people speaking into my life, and that shifted my perspective. And so, like, these seasons that we go through in life, we're supposed to leave them behind and grab all the tools and all the weapons and everything that we've gained and bring them into the new season. And I feel like every season that I go through, and then I get into another season, like, I hear the voice of God say, that trust that you had for me in the last season is not going to sustain you in the season that you're going in. So I want more. And it's like, man, my faith starts to grow. And like, I mean, it's a struggle. None of us walked on water. There was only one that walked on water. We're all going to struggle. But he goes on and he tells us, like, man, do not let your hearts be troubled, man, for I have overcome the world. Like, come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Like, the great exchange through a relationship with this higher power. And so, like, these are things that are very vital when it comes to the seasons that we're in. And I've learned this previously. And so, like, we don't understand, at the moment, it makes no sense in 2023 when my business is booming in Augusta, Georgia. I'm making really good money. I have, several workers working for me, and my grandmother gets sick. And I feel like the Holy Spirit is saying, go take care of your grandmother and basically give everything up. And so I leave. And I leave my business running. My business declines from 2023 to 2025, an 80% profit loss from 2023 to 2025. It makes no sense to me, but I came here to take care of my grandmother. And then I realized that the mission is not only about my grandmother, it's about my family members. It's about friends that I have here in this community. It turned into something bigger. Like, God is the one driving the whole thing. And when we can see that and we're aware of the season that we're in, and we know the importance of it, like, we have a perspective shift that really begins to encourage us. And then this last thing, before I just like kind of land this thing on my end, at least, the past, so I've been with 143 Ministries for 7-8 years, something like that. And I'm out here with B&G, overseeing B&G, which is a ministry from 143 Ministries. And in the summer, I get a call from my mentor. He's saying, man, I need some help out here. I need you to come and help me with the houses. One of the guys that was leading in that area, something happened with him and he needed some help. And so with me, I'm like, all right, I'm going to go help. Well, little did I know that the Lord was preparing me for this next season that I'm going in. All right. He was preparing me with what it looks like with intake, what it looks like to be face to face, man to man in a house 24/7 with people that are inside of recovery. I'm usually the teacher. I come through, I teach on the whiteboard, educate people, move on with life. This season that I was in was equipping me for the season that I'm going into here in the next week or two. And it has been a real blessing to see that. But I would have not known that had I not had someone who has paved the path before me to explain and show me these things so that I can take my glasses, my belief systems that I've had through experience and influencers of the past, and shift towards new perception, new interpretation towards what I'm going through. And so, like, man, I'm so glad that we talked about this here tonight, and this has been very encouraging. And I'll end with this. There's a story of a man that was blind, and he's about to be healed. But before that, the people start to ask questions, and the questions that they begin to ask, and they say, why is this person blind? Is it because of his parents' sin? Is it because of his sin? And so the people of that time, the culture of that time, were questioning whether this person did something wrong to be blind, or this person's parents did something wrong to be blind. And the answer and the response that man got and those people got was, he is not blind because of his sin. He is not blind because of his parents' sin. He is in this condition because people are going to see the power of God move through him. And so, like, some of the things that you're going through in the season that you're in right now, you're in it not because of something wrong or what's going on, or you're lacking something. It's because God's going to use it to display his power through it, because it's in that attraction overcomes promotion. And so just wanted to share that with everybody here.
Thanks,
Good
Cito.
stuff, man.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, I think but Nate, you want to say something?
I
No?
mean,
Okay. Well, you're about to, like,
no, I was just repositioning, you know.
yeah, I gotcha.
No,
Man, it was a great topic on 'tis the season. I think everybody can somehow, some way in the comments, I've seen it, relate. Like we and it's funny how things show up in our lives. I think we're all going through some seasons right now in one form or fashion, whether it's with work and with kids, with figuring it out, with relationships. I think that's the biggest one of all. But also, just trying to navigate life be life in sometimes, man. And faith is going to make it happen. Having faith that everything's going to work out no matter what my situation is right now, no matter what this feeling is that I'm feeling, pushing through it and looking for the greener grass on the other side, whether we can see it or not. Sometimes it looks way far away, and sometimes it might be right in front of us and we don't even know it, and to just have faith that everything's going to work out, especially with the experiences that we've had thus far in our recovery journey. Everything always works out no matter what. And Nate always reminds me of that. He always reminds me that everything works out, even if it's not exactly how I think it should be or my expectations of what it should be. It does work out for our benefit, whether it's going to be now or whether it's going to be later that we're going to be using this experience. No matter what, it works out. So I think that's the best thing that I've, and I needed this, I needed this because I feel that I'm in a pressure cooker. I'm in a pressure cooker right now, like a damn chicken leg. And I feel it and I don't like it. And it makes me want to run. It makes me want to burn it down. It makes me want to, but I don't want to. I don't want to.
You gotta let it burn, like Usher.
Gotta let it, like Usher, bro. Let it burn. Let it burn. I wish I had.
Do not do it. Don't do it.
Well, I love you guys, man. Thank you for coming on tonight. Thank you guys for being in the comment section with all your comments, with all your inspirations and your encouragements. And I think we're all here as a family to encourage each other. So we'll see you next Wednesday, man. We're gonna have a story, man. I got Matt coming on here to share his story, his journey with us. So it's going to be a good night, man. So join us next Wednesday right here on the Hope Shot at 8:00. And until then, see you.
So.
Peace.